दोस्तों आज it's every day is a very grim day. It's a grim day basically because you feel that the rights of the immigrants are the rights of the people who wants to make United States their home, a sanctuary away from the world that was dreadful. And the United States have given you safe sanctuary, protection, protection or scourge from protection for scourge of atrocious government, giving you job opportunities, giving you a home, and has given you proper remuneration for your hard work. You suddenly feel that someone is just pulling the plug now and taking that away from you. It could have disastrous consequences. Very recently, the United States government, and it was in the plan for a very long time. They raided more than 300 people, 300 government ICE agents, along with the paratroopers and Georgia State Police, raided Hyundai. Hyundai, the car maker, they were setting up a battery plant there. LG, another leading company of South Korea. So both these companies had set up a plant. They were in the midst of the construction. So Georgia was wanting a lot of investments. It creates great job opportunities, and actually a market had come up there around that place. So this opportunity was everything was railroaded, jeopardized. The massive immigration raid resulted in arrest and detention of more than 475 people. Even in this raid, some of the green card holders were arrested. And the allegation was that you, Hyundai, you are using illegal aliens to perform work. And that's a crime. So what was happening was a lot of these workers, the South Korean workers, they had come to United States on a visitor visa or in a visa waiver, and they would just camp there and work and make money. So the government was very pissed with that. But anyway, so they got arrested, and it ended up being a very embarrassing situation. The South Korean government very sensitive about its workers, and one of the main ministers had to take a flight, come to United States to negotiate a repatriation of those workers, repatriation back to South Korea. They didn't want the workers to be deported because deportation means you're being, it's a humiliating experience. And I was told that people were handcuffed, shackled, and, that's a little demeaning. And the South Korean government was very sensitive about it. And they urged the United States to follow due process and said, please be respectful to our mankind, our people, and we will take them home. So they have sent a plane to have anyone who was so-called illegal, a Korean, would get into the plane and be back home. So this is for as far as um, the South Korean company is concerned. So we all know what has been happening. In this very year, President Trump's second administration, they have implemented very significant changes to U.S. immigration policies. They have now stricter enforcement, mass deportations, and restrictions on legal and humanitarian immigration pathways. The temporary protected status for Venezuelan is gone. People from Nicaragua is gone now. And about 12,000 Afghanistan and their restrictions, they have also been the protection given to them as a temporarily protected status class, or I think the 12,000 was the Nepali. The Nepalese have been, called the Nepalese. So that is something very unfortunate. So we have seen how this thing is taking place. Now, I want to go through the key immigration policy changes in 2025. And, Trump administration has, of course, launched a very aggressive enforcement plan called Project 2025. They use all kind of a military means and to the extent of an Alien Act, was the Enemy Alien Act was used to, create more powerful, expedited removal of people. And the whole thing was that the due process is going to take time. And they didn't have much time. They really want to remove and need what they're committed. ICE now is removing from 1,200 to 1,500 daily. So now they've also enhanced the budget. It's like $45 billion expansion budget for $45 billion for projects like removal and ad hoc basis, temporarily give them an incarcerated places stay as long as they're not put in the plane. It's very, very unfortunate. The policies now are they target a broad range of undocumented immigrants, not those with criminal records. We've seen in the past, those with criminal records or those who were found inadmissible, they will face the brunt of removal. But now it's anyone. There are 4.5 million US born children, 4.5 US born million children with undocumented parents. You see, when the parents would come, they will have kids there. They think this will get them, or it'll lead to, it will segue their way into future residents in the country. It doesn't happen this way anymore. So initially, the government, ICE, was very concerned that they will not raid places like churches or hospitals or schools. Nothing, no more, no more. Those sanctified places that, the stigma of, this embarrassment, let's not do it. That doesn't exist anymore. So there's a ruthless enforcement of the laws. So President Trump, since the time he took over office, January 20th, signed, multiple executive orders expanding policies. And also he roped in military for the border enforcement. So now he has paused resettlement for tens of thousands of vetted refugees, including we were talking about the 15,000 Afghans. So these people, they were in the process of being granted asylum or refugee status, nothing more. I mean, that has been cancelled. So it's very unfortunate what is happening. So I just want to say that the government is, they are become very, very strict. बच के रहना चाहिए, बहुत जरूरी है. Illegal लोगों को नहीं रखने का है. अभी 62-year-old राजेश खुराना और उसकी चाइनीज वाइफ थी नानजान, वो अभी अरेस्ट हुए हैं. कहाँ पर अरेस्ट हुए हैं? न्यू मैक्सिको में उनको अरेस्ट किया गया है. And that man had like 29 apartments. वो क्या करते थे? इलीगल इमिग्रेंट्स को लाते थे और वहां पर उनको रखते थे, बड़ी हैवी फीस लेते थे जो स्मगलर्स के साथ इन्वॉल्व थे. So you have to understand that you cannot harbor or keep illegal aliens. This way you're violating Section 1324, harboring illegal aliens. It's a standalone, very strict provisions. You'll have to be very careful. So ये राजेश खुराना के और जिसकी बीवी नैनचैंग, उसको भी अभी ठोक दिया है, अंदर ले लिया है गवर्नमेंट ने और मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग का केस डाल दिया उनके खिलाफ. And it's very bad what is happening. So now the other thing I wanted to tell you quickly about just a DACA था, एक deferred action for childhood arrivals. Well, that has been paused. Temporary protected status, TPS, that has been paused. Victim visas have been suspended. And there is another, the Dreamers, TPS holder, Dreamers का जो बच्चे वगैरह थे, the protection is not there anymore. So you'll have to be very mindful, check with your lawyer what could be done. अभी हमारे को पटेल साहब वहां पर इसमें क्या बोलते हैं, अभी वो कन्विक्ट हुए हैं. वो क्या करते थे? वो विक्टिम का विटनेस वीजा दिलवाते थे और क्या करते थे? झूठी मूठी डकैती इनैक्ट करते थे वो. झूठी अपने आप ही डकैती करवाते थे वीजा लेने के लिए, पैसे बनाते थे पटेल साहब। तो कहा था ना उसका राम भाई पटेल, राम भाई पटेल को बड़ी सजा हुई है। देखते हैं अभी इसके साथ और क्या क्या होता है। और क्रिमिनल फॉर फीचर भी होता है, जो भी पैसे ये बनाते हैं इलीगल ह्यूमन स्मगलिंग के, उसको भी दे हैव टू पे इट बैक। सो नाउ आपने द कस्टम्स बॉर्डर जो पेट्रोलिंग है वो है, दे इंटेंसिफाइड देयर ऑपरेशंस, आइस ने इंटेंसिफाई कर दिया है ना। अरेस्ट एनी, अब ये देखिए इमिग्रेशन कोर्ट्स भी नहीं बचे हुए, USCIS ऑफिस आते हैं वहां भी ये लोग बंदे हैं। सो नाउ आल्सो दे आर पुटिंग प्रेशर on the state law enforcement agencies to support them. All right, so let's take a break. Yeah. जी दोस्तों, देखिए अभी क्या मैंने सिचुएशन आप लोगों को बताई है कि सिचुएशन कितनी ग्रिम होती जा रही है। यू हैव टू बी केयरफुल। या हार्बरिंग इलीगल एलियंस, आपको पता है 3-4 बंदे हैं इलीगल हैं, कल को आप भी प्रॉब्लम में आ सकते हैं। पर इसका मतलब ये नहीं है आपकी जैसे वाइफ है, आपका हस्बैंड को इलीगल है, आप लीगल हैं, वो उसमें दैट विल नॉट अप्लाई टू यू। ठीक है, आपके बच्चे उनका स्टेटस अभी है, वो दैट विल नॉट अप्लाई टू यू आल्सो। अपने फैमिली मेंबर्स को रखना, बट व्हेन यू कीपिंग अदर पीपल, आई मीन दैट्स अ सीरियस ऑफेंस। अभी लीगल इमिग्रेशन में भी बहुत सारे चेंजेस आए हैं, जैसे वर्क रिलेटेड वीजा, फैमिली बेस्ड वीजा हैं, they have been strictly scrutinized, and higher reinstatement of higher wages इसके लिए, H-1B visas के लिए, they want to make sure that the person is being paid. Now, the other thing you have to be careful is, आज के समय में आइस और CBP वगैरह जो कस्टम्स बॉर्डर इन्फोर्समेंट या आइस के जो मेंबर हैं, ये रेवेन्यू सर्विसेज के साथ जो टैक्स भरे जाते हैं उनके साथ इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर करते हैं। पहले शेयर नहीं करते थे। सो नाउ अगर आपको पता है ये बंदे ने अगर इलीगल काम किया है, so that can come back to bite you. So you want to make sure that you have maintained the status. All right. Also, एक नया सिस्टम और शुरू किया अभी इन लोगों ने, a mandatory registration system for undocumented immigrants. And अभी देखिए इसका क्या बनता है। अभी आप ये देखिए कि लीगल चैलेंजेस आ रहे हैं कैलिफोर्निया के अंदर। The military was called and they're using paramilitary forces to pick up people. And a lot of people said, well, this is like you're attacking the Hispanic communities. And because Hispanic community, Los Angeles की area में काफी हैं. So there were class actions, ACLU ने class action file किया. Finally, the Supreme Court said nothing doing. Although the trial court was very concerned that it might be a violation of Fourth Amendment. Fourth Amendment is basically a guarantee to you from unlawful search and seizures, protection of laws. So, लेकिन वो उन लोगों ने Supreme Court ने इसको सुना नहीं, but you can continue. So the raids are continuing, and even based on the fact, how do you spot someone is illegal? वो क्या है, शक्ल देखकर, उसकी जुबान देखकर, उसका रहने सहने का तरीका देखकर, चलने का तरीका देखकर, officer usually could not arrest a man like this. There should be some, probable cause to arrest someone. Not anymore. Not anymore. तो देखिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इट्स ओपन, वो कहते हैं नर्क के दरवाजे खोल दिए हैं। तो दोस्तों बड़ी ही इट्स अ वेरी वेरी सैड स्टेट ऑफ अफेयर्स। अभी एलियन एनिमीज एक्ट को जो एक्सपेल किया था वेनेजुएलन गवर्नमेंट के सर, द जज हैड ब्लॉक्ड द टर्मिनेशन फॉर प्रोटेक्शंस। आई मीन और फेडरल अपील कोर्ट्स ने भी मना कर दिया, अभी नहीं, you can't use the Alien Enemies Act as of now because there's no war as such. So it's now the how about the family separations, mother, grandparents, they have been asking President Trump's wife to intervene on a humanitarian basis. Otherwise, the consequences would be very harsh. And, people lose their jobs, the families fall apart. So those don't, it's a, but you have to advise you need to meet a lawyer ASAP. अगर आपका स्टेटस नहीं है, try to find out. अगर आपको 2 साल से कम हो गए इस कंट्री में, you run a bigger risk. You run a very big risk of being put in expedited removal. Expedited removal can be, forgive me, can be very disastrous in the sense a man will decide you will not even see a judge. They'll say, well, you don't have any status here in this country. You just get out of there. So then this get out of here is it can be very hurtful, and you run the risk of losing everything. So don't make mistakes. You have to be very, very careful that you don't break the law. Don't get caught drunk driving. Don't drive without a proper license. So you know these things you have to don't lie in your applications. Don't get involved in frictions with law because smallest conviction or smallest arraignment can lead into some serious fatal consequences. So those times it's just very unfortunate time. So you would not want to do this. I mean, I seriously believe that you need to see a lawyer that can help you in this situation. And let me briefly tell you about the expedited removal. What exactly is an expedited removal? Expedited removal वो होता है मैकेनिज्म है जिसमें यूएस इमिग्रेशन अथॉरिटीज जो है वो आपको एक क्विकली डिपोर्ट कर देती हैं और इसमें तरीका नहीं है बीच में they'll just ask you a couple of questions. You're asked by CBP or ICE. They will ask you the border or within 100 miles of the border. They can arrest you, pick you up and ask you, तुम किस लिए क्या हो, क्या चाहते हो, क्यों आए हो? अगर आप कहते हो आप asylum में है, application है, so you will have to really satisfy him. And if you satisfy him, then the second stage is you go for a quick view, a very truncated view. You have to just, quick view whether, is there probably, do you have a probable cause? The judge has to find a probable cause there. Well, you really might have, probably you do have a ground for applying for asylum. The immigration judge holds the key, then he can be out. But immigration judge, the test is very high. I mean, the bars are very high now. अभी थे सोचने की बात है immigration judges की जगह some military personals will be working as immigration officers. So that is very, very fatal. So dosto, you have to be, this determination of inadmissibility could be very crucial. I mean, immigration officers has got all the rights and the powers. And interview is screening hai, and the issuance of expedited removal is very quick. Unless, of course, you can satisfy the officer with a credible fear. Credible fear interview, aapko bataya, it's a very summary process. The officer has to be subjectively satisfied. And mind you, as long as this process is pending, you will not be released or bond. No parole, bond, none of those things. And then thereafter, you continue to be detained. All right. Then if there's no credible fear is found, so then then you're removed, and there's no appeal. There is no appeal. This is an administrative process. All right. The program it's designed to be very swift, and it's could be done in hours, just a couple of days. So it's a lesson for people who want to cross the border without understanding what awaits. So gone are those days, my friend. You come to the country, apply for asylum. It doesn't happen this way. So be very, very careful. That's all I would say for today. Now, I have my telephone number will be there on the screen. If you have issues, you could email me or just ask for an appointment, and I'll be happy to help you resolve any intricate immigration issues. You have to understand this is not a simple filling the forms practice anymore. Immigration law happens to be an intricate warp and weft of not only the congressionally given statutes, even their regulations that are issued by the CBP and the governmental authorities. And that they could be, that's a very arcane and very labyrinthine, very, very difficult. It's not an easy undertaking to resolve an immigration issue. I must tell you this much. So do not, वो कहते हैं ना कि कच्चा हाथ डालने का नहीं है, आपको कच्चा हाथ नहीं डालना, solid हाथ डालना है. And solid हाथ के लिए, you need a great lawyer. All right, don't hesitate calling. So my name is Karamveer Dahiya, दोस्तों, और फिर मिलते हैं ब्रेक के बाद. Thank you.